पेरेंटिंग इज नेवर अबाउट किड्स, इट इज अबाउट पेरेंट्स। हम क्या करते हैं, एक बार किया मैंने ट्राई, दूसरी बार किया नहीं हो रहा है, अरे ये जेंटल पेरेंटिंग हमसे नहीं होता। बट अ चाइल्ड्स ब्रेन नीड्स अ मिनिमम ऑफ 15 encounters to actually process the neural pathway to activate in their brain for them to get what you're really telling them.
Parents are having an argument in front of the children. How does it affect the children?
You want your child to be emotionally regulated. You as parents, are you emotionally regulated? And you expect your child whose brain is so immature to be emotionally regulated all the time. You are modeling a behavior which you don't want your children to do, which they are hardwired to do because their brains are underdeveloped.
So what goes through their mind during those first 7 years of their age?
So 0 to 7 years are called the crucial window, or we call it the magic window, because this is the time when my brain size physically grows 3 times.
English textbooks taught us idioms like you are what you eat. And children are like wet cement. Whatever falls on them makes an impression. But they don't teach us the application of this to make a healthy life possible. As a result, parents forget that a child's foundation isn't what school they are enrolled in or how much they are scoring academically. The foundation is what they learn at home, see around them, and what they are eating. Child psychology and nutrition are topics which are neglected when it comes to parenting and childcare. So today on Maatehood, we sit down with Shweta Gandhi, a child psychology expert and NLP master coach, to explore the fascinating interplay between a child's psychology, brain development, and daily routines, including their relationship with food.
Hi Shweta, welcome to Maatehood. It's such a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you, it's a pleasure. What an honor to be here.
So I've been following a lot of your content and I have been watching a lot to do with child psychology, but at the same time also about nutrition.
Yep.
So I really want to know like how that works, like more about you know.
So basically, I am a child psychology expert and an NLP master coach. I run a school back in my city in Surat, and we have around 600 children that we house every single day. And I also take a lot of online programs on child psychology and subconscious mind. And I'm officially present in 52 countries of the world as an NLP master coach.
You're doing a wonderful work, and I'm sure it's very, very useful for a lot of parents out there. Because being a parent in today's time is no less than a struggle, day to day.
It is, for sure.
And there's just so many questions, so many unknowns, and so many concerns we have on day-to-day basis. So we really look up to the experts like you to understand the very basics, because that in itself solves a lot of problems.
Yep. That's my effort, and that's the mission.
So Shweta, just for the sake of clarity for our viewers, what does NLP actually mean?
So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, which is the study of thought patterns in human mind. Something that we're going to talk deeply about today, of how our neural pathways are rewired through repetition, through mindfulness activities, and how kids' brains are shaped from a very young age through a lot of positive activities that they encounter, along with nutrition being a big part of child brain development.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a very, very interesting conversation.
Yes.
Because a lot about it I don't know about myself. So I definitely want to, start knowing and implementing it for my children from a very young age.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's going to be very useful for my parenting journey. So you're a mother yourself. You have 2 kids.
I have 2 beautiful
children. How old
children.
are they?
One is 5 and the other little one, my baby girl, is 1 year old.
Oh, that's so cute. Really cute. So how being a mother yourself has shaped your journey of a child psychologist?
So I am a child psychology expert, and well, honestly, having studied, being certified in child psychology and putting all of my knowledge into practice with both my children is really rewarding. But a lot of times what we've studied in theory and when it comes to practically dealing with it, you have to have a lot of mindfulness, a lot of tips and tricks that may work, may not work, and you just have to see what works for yourself. Right? So, of course, the knowledge, the base is very solid, and it really reflects in the way I raise my children. But however, as an individual, you have to find what works for you and your children yourself.
True, absolutely. Very well said. I think we as parents, this generation, we are very well aware of what's going on. We try having a very deeper understanding of our children's behavior before we reflect on it, right?
Absolutely.
Before we react to it. But at the same time, I feel we're still not doing enough towards, really understanding their psychology or focusing on their emotional well-being, or even helping them strengthen their own emotional reaction to the world and the surroundings. What do you think about it?
Absolutely correct. And this is what, I work at grassroots level, right? And I know that 90% parents, Priyanka, these parents I'm talking about, they are very well-read, well-educated, well-traveled, well-spoken parents, coming with, from very good families, having big blown careers. And these parents also are so impatient towards their children. They don't understand that their brain, their prefrontal cortex or their logic brain is very underdeveloped. Their emotional regulators are missing. Their impulse controls are missing. Hence, my child is having difficulty in processing these emotions. When my child is having a tantrum, he's not giving me a hard time. He's having a hard time. And instead of telling my child, why do you do this? I have told you 100 times, why don't you just get it? How can I help you? How can I help my child process these emotions? And how can I help my child regulate these emotions? I cannot tell my bacha gussa nahi karna hai. Because all the emotions, it's very natural for a human mind to experience all of the emotions. But it is my job as a parent to help my child regulate these emotions by being a role model to him. So a lot of parents make this mistake of not being a role model. Have you told your child that these are the calming down techniques? This is how mama also experiences anger, frustration, and this is how I deal with it.
Relatability,
And also a child must encounter these emotions, let's say loosely, 10 to 15 times for them to actually understand what mama is telling. हम क्या करते हैं, एक बार किया मैंने ट्राई, दूसरी बार क्या नहीं हो रहा है, अरे ये जेंटल पेरेंटिंग हमसे नहीं होता. हमारे बच्चे तो डांट के और मार के ही समझते हैं. Lot of parents do this. But a child's brain needs a minimum of 15 encounters to actually process, or the neural pathway to activate in their brain for them to get what you're really telling them.
I remember there's this nursery rhyme which is use your words, use your words. Have you heard this one?
Yes, of course.
So I started singing that from a very young age with my kids. And till date, every time they have some sort of meltdown and they're not able to express themselves, I always just start singing this. I'm like, I'm not understanding what you're trying to say.
I think that's the perfect way to go about it.
Yeah. And I'm like, if you can use your words and express what you're feeling, I'll be able to help you better.
Absolutely.
So I hope that's working out for me.
So as you said, how calmly or in a very soothing tone when you deal with your child's anger, because if their chaos is coming and my chaos is going to them, it's going to be more chaotic. But if their chaos meets my calm, it's all going to settle. Right? So what I do is, scientifically, what are the steps is that when I see a tantrum is coming, and it's inevitable, tantrum is going to come every 2-year-old in this world. It starts from, say, 15 months till broadly, till 6.5 years. The tantrum window is generally this, as far as the logic-based tantrums are concerned, because their prefrontal cortex is very underdeveloped. So what are the scientific steps to deal with it? Number one, I'm seeing a tantrum coming. First thing I do is keep my calm. Right? I do not react that ये क्या है, you don't get it, इतनी बार तुम्हें समझाया, that's it now. Because जब उनका tantrum आ रहा है, तब उनका brain is already in a fright mood. Right? And that's why the tantrum is coming, because they cannot process these big emotions that is coming in their brain. And hence the tantrum is coming. So I have to help my child process these emotions. I acknowledge, yes, bacha, I understand. I know you're going through this. I empathize with my child.
Yeah.
That's where my child, 50% tantrum wahi pe calm down ho jata hai when my child knows that my parent is with me.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And then in a very soothing tone, as you said, in a very soothing tone, you go down to their level, you meet them in the eye, and then you tell them, yes, bacha, I know, I understand, give them a hug. And again, ये सब में rules and discipline हमें give up नहीं करना है.
Yeah.
Rules and discipline तो रखना ही है, because a lot of parents, what they do just to avoid tantrum, permissive
They'll say yes to
parenting.
everything, yeah. So Shweta, they say that first 7 years of a child's lifetime is very crucial to develop a very solid foundation, be it physically or emotionally.
Absolutely.
So as parents, we can see the physical part, right? We can see the growth happening. We can see every now and then those growth spurts happening. What happens in their mental development and the brain growth, you would say, I think in a more technical term. So what goes through their mind during those first 7 years of their age?
So 0 to 7 years are called the crucial window, or we call it the magic window. Why we call it the magic window? Because this is the time when my brain size physically grows 3 times.
Yeah.
90% of my brain grows. 90% of entire lifetime of brain जितना develop होना होता है, 90% वो तब develop हो जाता है.
First 7 years.
Right, first 7 years. So how is the brain developed? Basically through the neural connections. The more I'm exposed to something, my neural activity starts in the brain, stimulation happens, the neural connection happens, and through environment, exposure, and the experiences that I have in my childhood, it is going to shape my brain. Now, when I have positive experiences, when I have, a calm mother, a very beautiful, healthy environment at home, my brain is developing in a healthy way. And in 1 second, 1 million neural connections are built in this time.
Wow.
Right? So, my brain technically has, say, around 37 trillion neural connections. 37 trillion neural connections. And imagine.
It's massive.
It's massive. And all of this, our entire life is a blueprint of what we are subjected to and what our neural chains are. Nothing else. Everything it's that scientific.
Yeah.
Right? Now, in that phase, my entire logic brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision making, problem solving, logic thinking, emotional regulation, my language development, social skills, all of these skills are developed in 0 to 7 years. And it is very crucial that in this time, my bacha is not subjected to trauma. Trauma in what form? When my mom is डांटती रहती है, चिल्लाती रहती है, or I'm consuming a lot of junk food, sugar, salt, because that's also trauma to my brain.
Okay.
Right? It's not healthy for my brain.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of overstimulation.
Yeah.
A lot of over
Processes.
sensorial activity that happens in my brain, which gets me overwhelmed. That is, I have sudden hyperactivity in my brain, leading to sudden energy crashes, leading to sudden mood swings.
Yeah.
All of this is happening because of my food. However, if my child is having a very soothing environment in the house, I'm doing mindfulness activity, puzzles, storytelling, or if I'm having block play, rhymes, and if I'm subjected to outdoor play, so that's what is healthy for my brain. And in 0 to 7, my entire blueprint of my life is made. So parents have to be really cautious in these years that what my child is being subjected to. हमें लगता है कि इतना तो डांटना ही पड़ता है, इतना तो चिप्स खाएगा तो क्या होगा, इतना शुगर से क्या होगा. हम लोग टीवी नहीं देखते थे क्या, हम स्क्रीन नहीं देखते, हम देखते ही है ना, तो बच्चे देखेंगे तो क्या हो जाएगा. So we think that it's okay, but in longer run it really impacts a child brain.
True. So if in first 7 years of their life, I have failed to set the discipline, right behavior, right habits, right routine, have I missed the window?
See, now your brain works on the scientific term called neural pruning. What is pruning is if you don't use it, you lose it. Meaning, the neural chains, the connections in your brain.
Yeah.
For example, you and I have a very healthy bond. Okay.
Yeah.
And over the period of time, we don't meet. Right? So what happens in my brain, the neural connection that was related to you, that neural connection was lost because it wasn't used. So what happens is that when you don't use it, you lose it. In the sense that हमें हर एक चीज का objective ये रखना है that I am repeating the healthy things that I am doing for my brain to be extremely tight for that particular skill.
True.
And if I don't use that skill or that particular thing, I don't repeat it, my brain is going to lose that. So it is very important to keep on repeating the healthy things that I do. Now, if you say that I have a lot of junk food or screen time, or I did not have discipline in my initial years, well, you are going to carry that forward in your next 7 years, that is 7 to 14 years.
Yeah.
However, if one day you wake up and you realize that, you know what, I want different things for myself, and that's when you start practicing different things. The best part about our brain is the neuroplasticity, that it's highly adaptive. So, jo gaya wo gaya, it's fine. But from today, if you decide to lead a better life, your brain is highly neuroplastic. It adapts.
It adapts. And they're still children.
And they're still children. And also there's a lot of rewiring that keeps on happening. Every single day my brain's rewired on the basis of what practices I do. If I work out, I meditate, I eat good food, I hydrate myself, I have positive experiences, I read the book, I watch good podcasts. All of this is going to help my brain rewire in a positive way. Right.
So I was just reading somewhere that your gut health could be the origin and main cause of any sort of anxiety, depression, mental health disorder, ADHD. Till what extent it's true?
See, it is said your gut is your second brain. And well, why not? It's so true, because whatever we are eating, there's a deep connection between our brain and food we eat.
Yeah.
Nobody can deny that. Right? Because my brain is feeding off the nutrients from my body.
True.
Right? Now, for example, in a child, if I talk about nutrients like omega fatty acids, if I talk about iron, zinc, vitamins, they actually feed off my cognitive brain, my logic, my decision making, problem solving, flexibility in thinking, my presence of mind. ये सब कहाँ से आ रहा है? From the food I'm eating. But if I'm not getting enough nutrition from the good food, homemade food that I eat, then it is going to impact my brain work. And it is vital that from beginning, I teach my child the entire food structure and how it affects my brain.
Yeah. See, as a parent, I think it's ideal that children are having homemade, healthy food. They're doing enough physical activities, outdoor play, no screen time, and we really want to achieve it. But sometimes it just becomes so unachievable because it's hard to deal with children's tantrums and how they react to our set of guidelines and discipline we put in place. So if children are not receptive of these understandings and guidelines, what would be the right approach for parents to handle this?
So, well, great question. And I think this question is something that a burning question for all the parents. However, I would like to tell you here is that you as a parent, when you have a child, you must first thing do is understand a child's brain. Understand that what is the way to deal with the tantrums. Understand that this is very common. Nothing is wrong with my child. Parenting is never about kids, it is about parents. I as a parent need to understand that this is common. Every child in this world, be it Alia Bhatt's, be it Kareena Kapoor's, be it yours, be it mine, child will behave this way. But it is only and only my approach, my response that is going to decide my child's childhood. So I need to really learn that how I deal with my child. I need to understand that I need to connect with my child, connection before correction.
True.
I need to understand that I cannot impose things on my child. I need to inspire my child for things. And trust me, let me tell you this one thing. I have 600 children in my campus that I deal with on daily basis, and I know for sure that if a child is well attended to, is given enough attention, is having that connection, children listen.
Yeah.
They listen because in the end, all of the tantrum that is coming is also because of lack of connection, lack of attention, and lack of my ability to lead my child.
True.
If I lead my child well, if I know the nuts and bolts of my child's brain, trust me, they are really easy to deal with.
True.
But today's parents are very busy in their career, in their own life. They're so consumed by their own life, they don't have patience and time for their children.
And it doesn't happen in a day, right? You have to build it over the years.
Over the years.
Yeah. Since beginning.
Since beginning.
And it never ends. You have to keep on going. My younger one, he's just 4 and he just came back from school and he's like, Mama, sugar and butter is not healthy. I was like, oh, thank God. And then he picked up a donut and he's like, but I still love my donut, so I'm going to eat it. I was like, okay. But you just said it's not healthy. He's like, yeah, but I like it, Mama.
I know.
And I think as parents, we constantly try.
Yes, no, I get it. However, what really works is having family rules. These are the rules.
Like and limitations.
We have junk food only on Sundays. We have screen time only on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So rather than cutting it off, we just explain what is everyday food and what is someday food.
True.
Some days this is allowed.
Yeah.
Every day this happens. Also, I very strongly believe in this one thing, that whatever you allow in your house prevails in your house. In my household, whatever I've allowed is there.
Yeah.
And whatever I've not allowed, it doesn't exist in my house.
True.
Like in our house, we have the rules. Everybody talks softly, politely to each other.
Yeah.
And that is what we follow, all of us. We follow the rules of screen days only on Saturdays, junk food days only on Sundays.
Yeah.
We follow the pattern of having dear time, which is drop everything and reconnect. So every single night, 4 of us are, sitting. I'm doing a silly dance. We are having a funny laugh. We are playing board games. We are doing dance.
Yeah.
So having that culture every single night, we have family meals where 4 of us are sitting on the table, eating the same food, having their own plates, having conversations. And all of this is a normal thing in my household. Why? Because I have allowed all of that. I have introduced that, and I have done this repeatedly, and this has become the culture. So as parents, you really need to be leaders for your children to set the tone for them.
And I think you both have to be on the same
You
page.
both have to, oh, absolutely.
That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And where it becomes very tough and challenging if both the parents have very different backgrounds.
Yep.
So one parent comes from a very disciplined household where you really talk to each other, we really emphasize on sharing your feelings, emotions. And the other parent is coming from a very, very different household where discipline was not really part of their day-to-day life, and there was no focus on mental health, emotional well-being. So it becomes very challenging.
And you don't talk about emotions.
Yeah.
You've never spoken about it, and you're very uncomfortable to talk about emotions.
Exactly. And sometimes parents themselves are struggling with it.
Absolutely.
And then practicing that with children, that becomes way more difficult, I feel.
100% agree. And hence, I tell this, when you're pregnant, you understand what are the different parenting styles. Which style do you think we want to adapt for our child? So these are all pre-baby talks that
Start
you must
planning,
have. With you just don't plan the baby like you want to conceive the baby. You also plan your parenting style. That this is what we want to do. Because no matter what kind of backgrounds you have come from, and however we have to leave everything behind, we have to learn, unlearn, relearn a lot of things. Right? And I always tell my husband that our बच्चे is our lifetime project, right?
True.
हम हमारे business के पीछे हम इतना vision, mission and our yearly goals हम ये सब करते हैं ना, हम बच्चों के लिए भी ये सब करते हैं. What are our yearly goals? How do we want to what do we want to teach our children? How do we want to deal with them on daily basis? Tantrums आ रहे हैं, junk food, screen time को लेके what are the boundaries? When grandparents are involved,
True.
then it's even more challenging because when you want to become an authoritative parent where you want to discipline your children, you want to set boundaries, and grandparents want to do permissive parenting where क्या फर्क पड़ता है, क्यों रुला रहे हो बच्चों को रुलाना नहीं है, क्यों नहीं रुलाना है बच्चों को, रोएंगे तो चलेगा, रोटी कपड़ा मकान उतने के लिए नहीं रोएंगे बच्चे, कुछ लगी है फिजिकल पेन के लिए नहीं रोएंगे, बट उनकी अननेसेसरी डिमांड्स अगर आ रही है वी विल नॉट फुलफिल दैट. उसके लिए अगर उनको रोना है, मैं बैठूंगी मेरे बच्चे के बाजू में, आई विल कंफर्ट माय चाइल्ड, बट आई विल ऑल्सो अश्योर हिम दैट रूल्स विल बी मेंटेन. यू विल गेट माय लव बट यू विल नॉट गेट दैट चॉकलेट.
So we briefly touched upon tantrums and kind of stubborn behavior. At what age does it start? And how do children actually start with this whole, because it's not like they've seen somebody else doing it, right? It just naturally happens at certain age. What is the reason behind that and what is going on in their brain at that time?
Okay, so let's say I actually should have gotten the brain, which I normally, love to explain it with. However, I'll just try to explain you with this as a brain. So now when my child is born, he has, say, 50, 60 neural connections. That this is my mama, or touch when child is feeling that sensorial touch and everything. So my child has 50, 60 neural connections. Then 6 months में मेरे बच्चे के brain में around 5-6 million neural connections आ गए. Then again, going down the line, 1 year, my brain has around trillions of neural connections. And by the time my child is 2 years old, his neural connections are equivalent to an adult brain.
Wow.
Imagine a 2-year-old has the neural connections as good as an adult brain. Now, what happens is that the amygdala, which is responsible for introducing the emotions in a child brain. So my child has got introduced to all sorts of emotions like anger, frustration, jealousy, insecurity, love, comfort, security. My child has got introduced to all of these emotions. However, my child's emotional regulators are missing. So child has got the emotions, but the regulation का जो regulator है वो develop ही नहीं हुआ. That starts developing at what age? 5 years.
Okay.
And until what age does it develop? 25 years.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, since my bachcha's brain में impulse controls, emotional regulators are missing. So they don't know.
Until the age of 5.
Until the age of 5. 5 से तो barely develop, gradually develop होना start हो रहा है. And only after that do I come to gradually with my emotional coaching and my guidance to my child, he starts understanding bit by bit by bit. Right? And if you tell me कि okay, इसके brain में इतने सारे इमोशंस आ गए, रेगुलेटर्स मिसिंग है, इसीलिए टैंट्रम्स आ रहे हैं. सो टैंट्रम्स के साथ डील कैसे करेंगे? हाउ इज माय चाइल्ड गोइंग टू लर्न हाउ टू डील विद दीस टैंट्रम्स? हाउ? ओनली एंड ओनली बाय गिविंग इमोशनल कोचिंग टू माय चाइल्ड
with our help
every single night. Means अगर पूरे दिन में there are 10 tantrums that are coming, on the spot react नहीं करके, डांट के नहीं, सोने के टाइम पे आई डू इमोशनल कोचिंग टू माई चाइल्ड. बच्चा, दिस हैपेंड टुडे, वाज इट राइट और वाज इट रॉन्ग? मम्मा taught you to do it like this, right? Okay mama, I'll do it next time. Next time again same mistake will happen, because your child's brain needs a minimum of 15 encounters to the same emotion for them to understand the regulation around it.
Okay.
And that is going to take 5+ years only.
Yeah.
उसके पहले तो हमें सिर्फ calm down रह के बच्चे को समझाते रहना है. Because I have to understand his logic brain is very underdeveloped.
Yeah, it's too
And
early.
understand the difference between a 3.5-year-old brain and a 35-year-old brain.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel I'm using my regulation now. I'm losing it.
Right.
Honestly speaking.
And I will agree with you that we, until I think before we had babies, we were like, you know, like.
I know.
We were not regulated, right? Every mother would, you know, relate with this.
Yeah.
Because only after becoming mom ourselves, we do understand that what maturity is, what regulation is, what having patience is. Otherwise, I was such an impatient person.
True. And it's like very short time frame within which you have to change so much and adapt so much.
Absolutely.
We are not given 25 years for to develop and change our behavior. It's just so quickly we'll have to adapt to it. So Shweta, help me understand how food and the mental health or a child's brain are connected.
So as we spoke already about, the nutrients like omega fatty acids, iron, zinc, multivitamins.
Yeah.
These are very important for child's brain growth and not just his cognitive brain growth. And when I say cognitive, what we mean is my child's ability to make decisions, to learn things, memory, attention span, problem solving, my presence of mind when my child is asked something to, have that presence of mind, answer, right? All of these things are cognitive functions.
Okay.
Then comes the social skills where when I'm having good food, healthy food, I'm generally in a happy mood. So my social skills are also developing on the basis of my mood. Because I'm constantly irritable, I lose the ability to connect with people or to interact with people, right? Then when it comes to the emotional intelligence, I cannot process emotions well when I'm constantly eating junk or sugar. When I'm eating good fats, proteins, carbs, fruits, nuts, seeds, that's when my brain has got superfood. My brain is nourished with nutrients and it grows in the healthiest way. It is calm, it's mindful, and it's sharp. Right? Then I talk about a lot of, sensory development also in young kids. Lot of young children, unka gross motor, fine motor skills, their gross motor starts to develop from 4 months. Right? When we give tummy time to children, when they start sitting on their back, when they start jumping, crawling. So these are all the gross motor skills. And when we talk about the fine motor skills, the small muscles of the body, where I talk about the pincer grasp, manual dexterity, hand-eye coordination, all of this is also fueled by the food I eat. So each part of the brain, cognitive, social, emotional, gross motor, fine motor, temporal, everything
connects back to food.
Because मेरे brain को energy कहाँ से मिल रही है? Number 1 from food, number 2 from the experiences. The exposure that I get, the 3 E's that are important in early development. The 3 E's, environment, exposure, experiences. So those also cannot be superficial or negative.
See, as Indian parents, we have this very common mindset. Only Indian food is the balanced diet, right? Now, children are exposed to so many different cuisines these days. So some children find their comfort in, I don't know, Asian cuisine or Italian cuisine. So our usual response to that is that those food items are not healthy. Is it really true? What if we can get all that made at home and we kind of use the right ingredients to make it nutritious enough?
Absolutely, yes. So I think cuisine is just the taste, right? What really matters is the ingredients. Right? So we don't look at food from cuisine point of view. When we talk of nutrition in children, we talk from the ingredients point of view. What is actually going in making that dish? That's important. Right?
And how it's been prepared.
When I talk about Indian food, when I see there are multiple ways to prepare Indian food, and I have seen the unhealthiest form of पनीर की सब्जी, versus आप जो घर पे बना रहे हो, which is a very healthy, wholesome kind of meal you can make in term with adding all the veggies and cooking in ghee. And
so a child who's eating junk food, let's say every day or 5 to 6 times in a week, what happens to their brain?
So I think till the age of 2, sugar is a big no.
Yeah. Okay.
And salts, till maybe 1 year you're not having salt. After that, a little bit of pink salt is fine, right? And also when we talk of salt, अगर आप little salt add भी कर रहे हो, तो we just have to make sure that excess नहीं हो रहा है. We are just putting little for the taste, so that your child consumes it. Very tasteless food, if my bacha is kind of rejecting the food, that's also not healthy. So little bit of salt is fine, but sugar is a big no.
So what happens actually when they're exposed to sugar and salt at that young age?
So what is happening inside the brain? My God, there's so much of stimulation. Unka neurons fire in their brain.
And we call that sugar rush.
Sugar rush. Yeah. The neurons that fire. Yes. Yeah. So there's like, suddenly my bacha is having hyperactivity. Sure. Suddenly my bacha is, running around and, there's that. Suddenly there's energy crash. Then there's also a lot of problem in focus, attention.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of mood swings.
True.
एंड हम जो बोलते हैं ना कि ये खाने से मेरे बच्चे का मूड अच्छा हो जाता है, प्रॉबेबली द गुड मूड फूड इज समथिंग एल्स ओनली वर्सेस व्हाट वी परसीव इट टू बी लाइक चॉकलेट चिप्स. हम ऐसा परसीव करते कि चॉकलेट चिप्स इज अ गुड फूड, गुड मूड फूड, वर्सेस वो डेफिनेशन तो कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट है. लाइक ओनली द fruits and nuts and seeds, these are all the good mood food.
True.
So we really need to understand at fundamental level as parents.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of parents जो बहुत permissive होते हैं कि मैम इतने से कुछ नहीं होता, but let us understand मेरे बच्चे का nervous system जो है, entire nervous system is very immature.
Yeah.
So थोड़ा खाने से ही वो excite हो जाते हैं.
True. True.
और अगर वो एक्सेस खाएंगे तो ऑफ कोर्स इट इज गोइंग टू इट इज गोइंग टू ओवर स्टिमुलेट देम. एंड ओवर स्टिमुलेटेड ब्रेन क्या करता है? टैंट्रम्स, जिद, फ्रस्ट्रेशन, गुस्सा आता है, चिल्लाता है. एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज आर द साइंस ऑफ एन ओवर स्टिमुलेटेड ब्रेन.
And then we think it's just a behavioral issue, and we do not try connecting it back to food items.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then parents are again scolding the child that why are you having these tantrums? Why are you? So इसमें बच्चे की तो कोई गलती नहीं. आप बच्चे को you are allowing this in your child's life, which is leading to this tantrums.
Yeah.
वो बच्चा is being led to tantrums, and then you are questioning the बच्चा that why these tantrums. You are scolding the child, and बच्चा is left nowhere, helpless at what is happening with me. Ultimately बच्चा थोड़ा अगर 4 साल का हो जाता है तो उनका सेल्फ एस्टीम एंड ईगो सेंट्रिक होते हैं वो. सो दे स्टार्ट टू थिंक दैट व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विद मी, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग विद मी. दे स्टार्ट क्वेश्चनिंग देमसेल्व्स. उनका सेल्फ एस्टीम इतना ज़्यादा उसमें हर्ट हो रहा है, question हो रहा है, and then they have negative self talks. And when they have negative self talks, I am not good enough, mama doesn't love me, मेरे में ये skills नहीं है, my brother or my sister is better than me, which is their words. They go into their subconscious mind, and it manifests into their personality.
We as parents have to start it at a very young age to set these boundaries for children when it comes to choosing right foods to eat. And
right. So when we talk about introducing, kids को early age से हमें healthy खाना, so उसके लिए घर में I need to have the culture where we are having one meal together, sitting, eating, everybody eating the same food. My bacha has his own plate. And independently eating, not bacha TV देख रहा है और मम्मा उसको feed कर रही है. No. My bacha is independently eating. Also, one very beautiful thing that works is that don't impose on your child that eat your spinach. Rather, ask your bacha, would you like spinach in your paratha or in your smoothie?
Yeah.
Right? So I am asking my child, empowering my child. My implied command है कि आपको spinach तो खाना ही है.
Yeah.
But there is a way to do that.
Absolutely.
We involve our kids in the kitchen. We make our kids understand what are everyday foods, what are someday foods. So having that understanding, and I involve my child in understanding of the nutrition.
Yeah.
That at very young age, that food, when we eat good food, two things: body strong banta hai, brain smart banta hai.
Yeah.
So that understanding, and then when your bacha does something smart, you relate it with food. Now you know, because you eat good food, you can move this sofa, you can think itna sharply.
Yeah.
This is all because of the food that you are eating. True. So you relate to them, तो बच्चे को ऐसे समझ आता है, oh, is it because of the food I ate, I'm able to do this.
They get the validation right away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is very important to connect with your child, to explain them, coach them.
You use the term gentle parenting.
Yeah.
Tell me more about it. What is gentle parenting to you?
Okay. So I think the millennials and Gen Zs have adapted this word gentle parenting, and gentle parenting is something to do with where parents are highly responsive to kids' feelings.
Yeah.
And they also demand a lot from the child in terms of regulating them, disciplining them, supporting them. So it's both ways, where I'm highly involved in my bacha and my bacha is highly connected with me. That's gentle parenting, where I validate my child's feelings. I understand that his brain is very underdeveloped. I understand that my child needs me for a lot of things, for regulating his emotions.
I think many people confuse it with saying yes to everything.
That's actually exactly opposite of it. That's permissive parenting, and that was probably traditional parenting, जिसमें हाँ तो हाँ या तो फिर ना तो ना.
Yeah.
ना in the sense कह दिया बस कह दिया. Don't ask me any questions.
Explanation.
No explanation.
Yeah.
या तो फिर हर चीज में हाँ बोल दे, हाँ कर ले. That's maybe neglectful parenting.
Yeah.
Right? This authoritative parenting is gentle parenting, where we both understand, connect, and we both grow. Yeah. I, as a parent, am growing with my child, and my bacha is, I'm leading my child. I'm not ordering anything on him that you have to do this because I said so.
Yeah.
You do this because I logically try to explain my child. I'm patient with my child. I spend a lot of quality time with my child. We go out on coffee dates, we work out together, we meditate together, we paint together, we are doing storytelling every single night. So I'm a highly involved parent who understands that my child may make mistakes, I may make mistakes, but you know what? In the end, we are both learning together, and we are shaping ourselves as a family, and as individuals with each other. And this is our journey together.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. And I think most of us are trying to practice that these days.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Sometimes we fail, but I think it's the most effective style of parenting.
It's the most effective style, and that is what I always say, that if you have 80% of authoritative parenting with 10% of permissive, where 10% of the times you allow things, which is fine, and 10% you also tell your child, listen, you have to do because I said so, to put your foot down. Yes, I think that's the best combination, 80-10-10.
Lovely. I'm going to start practicing that. Because sometimes we also get frustrated and we just end up giving up.
Absolutely.
It happens.
And Priyanka, as much as, I've traveled the world and spoken to so many parents, and honestly, like celebrities like you and so many, others that I've spoken to, the struggle is the same. At this level, at all levels. As a mother, you undergo roller coaster of emotions. You're trying your best every single day. You fail some days, you win some days. But in the end, honestly, I think with proper knowledge, proper information, and proper determination and intention, you'll always do a good job.
I know, and I think till some extent, we also have to be a little bit flexible.
Yep, and one of the most neglected things that I think parents in this generation are doing is self-care. They are overtly involved as parents, but when it comes to self-care, they don't work out, they don't, take care of their own mental state, which I think is absolutely non-negotiable.
No.
Otherwise, I'll always be stressed, and if I'm giving those energies to my child, because unknowingly, subconsciously, your kids are taking energy from you. And this is what I always believe in, that moms are the CEOs of the house.
True.
Our entire house feeds off our energy. We are the CEO, meaning the chief energy officers.
We also talked about mindful parenting. So what is mindful parenting according to you?
It is as good as gentle parenting, where you are mindful about how you're talking with your children, the words that you use in front of them.
Yeah.
So just yesterday, one of the parents came up to me and was telling me that, ma'am, my child used exact same lines that I told him 3 months back, 4 months back, and same words, same tone.
Yeah, they don't forget.
And it is, so mindful parenting comes from the idea that words in your house shape your child's brains and their personalities.
Yeah.
So each word and each response that you are giving in front of your child has to be mindful. And it has to come from a place of confidence, understanding, empathy, kindness. Like, I don't instantly react, or I don't, out of my frustration or my work stress, I went out on my children.
Yeah.
So that's mindful parenting.
So how does yelling, shouting, or hitting your child affect their brains? Because I know that some parents think कि थोड़ा बहुत डांटना ज़रूरी है. Do you think it really badly affects their brains?
Do you think your children's center of life is you, and of course the father, right? The parents are the alpha for kids at this point, at least until 7 years. 0 to 7 years, we are the alpha in their life. We are the heroes in their life. Also because their brain until 7 years cannot differentiate much between fantasy and reality. The magical brain is at work. And that's when they really think that my parents are my superheroes. They think my parents can do anything.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if my alpha is angry, sad, upset with me, my world crashes. It is going to affect my cognitive brain, my social brain, my entire brain, all the different regions of my brain is going to be affected. My language, my confidence, my self-esteem. So, हमें लगता है कि इतना डांटने से कुछ नहीं होता है. But छोटा, what, for example, if I am giving a lot of love and care to my child, so his part of the brain responsible for love and care, which is the amygdala, the emotional center of the brain, is getting activated, right? Versus when I am giving constant, गुस्सा and hate and मारती हूँ बच्चे को, so उसका amygdala में the negative neurons are being activated. So what is happening? In the end, each of the response is scientifically affecting my बच्चा. Now हमें लगता है कि इतना करने से कुछ नहीं होता, but understand it is science. The neurons, they scientifically work. अगर मुझे यहाँ पे पॉजिटिव एक्सपीरियंस होता है तो मेरे ब्रेन में देयर इज सम एक्टिविटी हैपनिंग,
true,
right, which is going to shape my further experiences or my thoughts around something.
Yeah.
And same happens with children. So whatever they are being subjected to is pure science. Good है तो good development of the brain है. कुछ भी unhealthy है तो it is going to affect my brain in an unhealthy way. It is pure science. You and I have nothing to do with it.
So if parents are having an argument in front of the children, and children can notice that parents are really, maybe they're sad or angry or frustrated, how does it affect the children?
So firstly, you want your child to be emotionally regulated. Number one, my question is, you as parents, are you emotionally regulated? Can you handle difference of opinion well? Can you communicate that very calmly, maturedly, with that matured brain that you already have? and you expect your child whose brain is so immature to have patience, to talk respectfully, to have social skills, to be calm and to be emotionally regulated all the time. So first is my question to the parents, what are you doing? Number two, you are modeling a behavior which you don't want your children to do, which they are hardwired to do because their brains are underdeveloped.
True.
Number three, my child is seeing two of his favorite people having a fight, which is making my child very insecure. What is happening? My child is एकदम घबरा जाता है मेरा बच्चा. What is happening? Now my child cannot even pick sides. Who is right? Who is wrong? What is happening?
And they don't want to, I'm sure.
They don't want to, and a lot of times they are just confused. And two people that the child completely looks upon are being such negative role model to my child. So my child is wondering, should I listen to this person when this person is trying to give me some gyan? What are you doing in the first place? Now, apart from all these behavioral things, let's understand how my child's brain is affected. My child's brain is in fear mode. That it's so inconsistent with my parents. They keep fighting, they keep shouting, yelling. These people are inconsistent. There is no security, there is no consistency. B, when you're shouting, I literally am scared to the extent that it becomes a part of my personality. And when I go out and when I have to present myself somewhere, the fright becomes a part of me and it goes along with me wherever I go. We have heard of this term, right? That बच्चे गीली मिट्टी है, right? Whatever falls on them makes an impression. So this puts a very strong impression on their subconscious mind that ये हो रहा है मेरे बच्चे में at a very young age anxiety आ जाता है. This also affects their academic performance, their language development, their social skills. And it is very normal and natural for two individuals who are adults having a life of their own to have difference of opinion. But parents must understand to argue in front of your child is something that your bacha will not respect the parent in future, because पापा तो मम्मा पे चिल्लाते हैं, मम्मा तो पापा पे चिल्लाते हैं. It means papa is not important. It means mama is not important. Right? So for bacha to respect you in future, that also becomes a big question mark. Research कहता है Priyanka that parents, because they are so frustrated and burdened with the pressure of parenthood, they don't have space, they don't have time, they're constantly worried. बच्चे का overwhelming routine है, उसमें parents actually are frustrated, and that frustration comes out in the form of arguments. And you are having a fight.
Parents don't have it easy either.
Right?
It's tough.
So it is important that we really need to calm down. And हमें calm down रह के respectfully ही बात करना चाहिए. And these are the basic fundamentals. Husband and wife should sit together, have a healthy dialogue with each other. Because kids being raised in broken families are the kids who resort to a lot of substance abuse, getting into wrong things, wrong companies when they are in their pre-teens, 9, 10, 11, 12 years. Parents have to be matured around this, that हमारे जो भी हमारा गुस्सा, हमारा regulation, we lot of times, I'm sure all the couples have differences, but when kids are away, you sit across the table, you listen to each other, you respectfully listen to each other, and you solve the problem. That's the only way to go about it. Because what I say also matters, what you say also matters. Sometimes we have to get past our ego and find a midway, because we don't want to break the family for our kids. And I know kids who are raised in broken families, they have some sort of behavioral issue even when they are 18. And it reflects in their personality versus children who come from happy, healthy families. how their view of the world is, how their personalities are, it's different. How their confidence is, it's different.
True. So if your child is still a kid, 7, 8, 9-year-old, but showing massive changes in behavior in the sense that they're lacking any sort of excitement to do anything, to go out, to play with friends. You see the sadness, you see some sort of, I would say, indifferent behavior. What could be the underlying reason behind that? Is it just that they're going through a different phase of their life, or could there be something bigger?
Well, normally when kids enter this phase, this is very common for most of the children to undergo this. So it is not something that's wrong with my child. Just like 2 साल का बच्चा tantrum करेगा ही, nothing wrong with my bacha. I as a parent need to be calm and need to support my child. Similarly, at this age, at 7, 8 years, again their brain is undergoing a lot of changes. Similarly, at 12 year, 13 year, my child is brain is undergoing a lot of changes. So their brain is constantly being rewired. And all of those phases, I as a parent need to be with my child, keep my family values strong, keep having those little family things together. Having open, honest dialogues, going on date with my bacha, spending father and son spending time, mother and son spending time, siblings spending time together. And as my bacha is growing older, like in 14 to 21 years, kids lose out on parents' advice and guidance. They don't really like parents giving. And at that point of time, it is very vital that parents find a mentor for a child. Mentor, if you can have somebody in the family who your child looks upon
and will listen to.
Or maybe बच्चे का कोई professor है, कोई teacher है जो बच्चा really looks upon, whom you can also trust, you have that bond. So make sure your bacha is having that one person that your child can talk to, can guide, is matured to, give direction to your child. Because as I said, बच्चे को parents का बहुत ज्ञान पसंद नहीं आता है. So having that one person is important.
They need to express.
And as parents, I tell everyone, start finding that one person from the time your child is 10, 11. Who do you think can mentor your child? Who can be the godfather, godmother for your child? Who is a positive influence, inspiration for your child?
So this is one of the most common discussion we parents regularly keep having, is choosing the right board for children. And I understand it's a very personal choice. But do you think board choose करने से उनके mental development पे कोई फर्क पड़ता है?
So again, choosing a board for your child is highly subjective. What you want for your child, you have to visit the school and you have to do your own research, and then you think this suits my kind of thought system, value system, you go ahead. If you ask me personally, I believe in a liberal kind of education. Why? Because there's not a lot of pressure, but there's a lot of brainstorming, there's a lot of thought-provoking that's happening. I'll just share a little example so that you can understand where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to tell you is, let's understand my child is 10-year-old and he has to learn a historic date that was etched in our history, Indian history, 1919, the Jallianwala Bagh incident. Now a traditional schooling bacha will learn ये इस डेट पे हुआ था, General Dyer, he had the rounds of fire troops on the Indian, this whatever. And then the other set of children are learning the same instance, that this happened in this age. Why did this happen? Why did Indians not fight back? Why we succumb to this? What emotions were going on the people and their families when this was happening? What was the leadership of our Indian leaders, the freedom fighters at that point of time? So इसमें मेरा बच्चा leadership सीख रहा है, emotional intelligence सीख रहा है, dates and events of course सीख रहा है, history सीख रहा है. So एंड ये पूरा टेक्स्ट बुक के बिना थ्रू प्रेजेंटेशंस मेरे बच्चे ने सीखा, just by having a round table conference, having open dialogue around it, and then in the end I giving my presentation in front of the entire class, which also enhances my public speaking skills, my interpersonal skills, my presentation skills, my language skills,
deeper thinking,
right?
Yeah,
critical thinking. So all of this thing is being skilled in my child through this one instance, versus my bacha rote learning the whole instance in the traditional school.
There are certain habits which children develop from a very young age, and I keep hearing from a lot of parents. Things like thumb sucking, or teeth grinding, nail biting, and even bedwetting. And for some children it goes on till their teenage. What could be the reason behind these behavioral aspects, and how can actually parents fix this?
So couple of things like bedwetting or nail biting. Now these are certain habits that my child has formed because it started with negligence.
But is it just the habit, or do you think there's some sort of emotional challenge or issue they're going through, and that leads to these behaviors?
Definitely there's some emotional irregulation that's happening, and hence my bacha is doing this. But I need to get to the root cause and get rid of the habit by getting to the root cause of it.
True.
Having an open dialogue with my child. For example, if bedwetting is happening, then I have a dialogue around it with my child. Also, subconscious mind training is so important in this. My child, I remember, was 3.5, and I wanted to get him diaper free. In the day he was diaper free, night time I wanted to get him diaper free. So I told him every night before sleeping, we would use the washroom, and last time we would just use the washroom and we just get in the bed, and then he would tell himself, talk to little Agastya inside your mind, talk to your subconscious mind, that hi little Agastya, hi inside Agastya, now we are sleeping, we are going to sleep very peacefully, we are going to stay dry all night, and we will use the washroom in the morning when we wake up. Now this is subconscious mind training. When I talk to inside of my head, there is some message I'm giving, and my subconscious mind is highly active and at work. Even when I'm sleeping, my subconscious mind is working 24/7. So now these are the things that as a parent I need to work on my child. And that was the day he started commanding his subconscious mind, he was diaper free, and there was no bedwetting. As a parent, now see, there are a lot of things that मेरे बच्चे को कोई चीज़ का fear है, anxiety है, all of these habits are formed out of those emotions as well. So I need to find out what is making my child anxious, what are the fears that my child. So having that open and honest dialogues. Now उसके लिए parents also need to understand the emotional intelligence.
True.
Lot of parents don't, क्या करते, वो स्माइली के थ्रू सारी इमोशन सिखा देते, ये हैप्पी, ये सैड, ये फ्रस्ट्रेटेड. उससे कुछ नहीं होता है. दैट्स नॉट इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस. And lot of parents also shut down so many emotions. रोना नहीं है, गुस्सा नहीं करना है, ये क्या जिद कर रहे हो, क्यों जिद कर रहे हो. You need to let your child experience these emotions, because only when they experience it, it's a chance for you to guide them on how to regulate these emotions. Because emotional intelligence is being aware of mine and others' emotions, being aware about it, regulating it, and showing empathy towards it.
True.
Right?
But I have seen some kids, the moment you say no to them, like, or something they didn't like, as little as no to chocolate, their immediate response is reaching out for their cuddly toy, or thumb sucking, or holding on to something which comforts them. How does that connect?
See, because सबसे पहले let's talk about saying no to kids. आजकल के parents are highly permissive, कि वो बच्चे को ना बोल ही नहीं सकते, और बच्चे ना ले ही नहीं सकते. Why? Kids have to learn to take no.
Yeah.
Right? It is important for them to learn to, because as parents, मैं हर चीज़ के लिए हाँ 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 बोलूँगी, and 5-6 years when they go to big school, do you think it's going to be a rosy world out there? Right? There are 100 kids who are going to tell them no for 100 things.
Yeah.
And tab my bacha will be heartbroken emotionally. He will be like broken that मुझे ना बोल दिया. और यहाँ पे मेरा बच्चे को लगता है I am the king of the world, I am the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
I can never be told no. So parents, जहाँ पे बच्चों को ना बोलना है, please tell them a no.
Yeah.
And they should learn to take no. And no बोल के अगर वो रो भी रहे, you sit with them, you comfort them. But given नहीं करना है हमें. Now, no बोल के मेरा बच्चा is seeking to something to comfort themselves, like thumb sucking or something. So what I do in that case is I distract my child and I give him some alternatives. That I understand that you are uncomfortable. I understand that you are sucking your thumb to comfort yourself. But can we rather do this? Like, let's rather paint, or let's rather do. So give them an alternative. So what happens is that if I tell you, Priyanka, don't think of cheese burst pizza from Domino's. Please don't think of a red car. Please don't think of your husband.
Yeah.
All the things came in your mind, right? Now, the thing is that our subconscious mind cannot register no, not.
Yeah.
Right? So rather than telling them what not to do, you tell them what should I rather do. Don't suck your thumb. Okay, tell me what should I do.
Yeah.
Tell me what is the alternative. What should I do? How can I comfort myself? Because I'm feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm feeling anxious.
Yeah.
With the sign of no. तो मुझे बताओ मुझे क्या करना चाहिए. Give them a healthy alternative. And again, the fundamental is 15 encounters for my child का एक neural pathway बनना. वो पेरेंट्स को नहीं भूलना है कि 15 बार कोई भी चीज बच्चे को करना पड़ेगा तो ही उनको आदत पड़ेगी. इट्स साइंटिफिक. न्यूरल पाथवे रेपिटेशन से ही बनता है. सो डोंट गिव अप एट द फर्स्ट साइट ऑफ डिस्ट्रेस के नहीं हो रहा है, ये तो हम गिव अप कर देंगे.
Does it also count to engaging your children with some sort of activity?
Absolutely.
For example, I want my daughter or my son to learn piano, and in one go they say no.
Absolutely.
In first class they said no, I don't want to do it.
Absolutely. See now,
do you think you can repeatedly doing it for like 15 times and then it'll
100%.
work out?
I will give you my example. My son, we started martial arts I think 2 years back, and I think initial 6 months he just wouldn't go, and then but still I did not give up. And now he's appearing for his green belt exam at the age of 4.5.
How nice.
Right? Because it just took us a lot of repetitions for the neural pathways in his brain to form a definite pathway, and then he just got on board with the idea. हमें लगता है कि हाँ वो mature हो गया, but the brain is at work, the science is at work. Constant repetition, meaning the neural pathway being strong and kids adapting to it.
Because I usually don't do it, because I personally think that I'm then pushing my child towards something which they may not like.
Right. Now again, see, there are two things here. A, do you think कि नहीं मेरे बच्चे को ये पसंद नहीं है इसलिए मैं नहीं करवाऊंगी, तो you pull back. Number 2, I know this is good for my child. I know he's going to enjoy it. It's just the initial friction that I'm seeing. Let me give him some time. Let him give this activity some time. I know he's going to get on board.
True.
Unless the experience is very traumatic for my child, it's always great to give him 15 encounters. But if you think no, there's a big havoc around this and it's causing a lot of trauma to my child, then you really must not.
True. I really want to talk about bullying as well. I think it's one of the most common questions you must be getting as well from parents. Children do not really tend to talk about it if they're going through some sort of bullying at school. Are there any signs or symptoms we can watch out for?
Absolutely. So bullying is something that's very common, and it starts as young as 6 years old.
Okay.
Right? It starts as soon as kids start to form understanding of group, peers, friendships. This is by the age of 6-7 years, they start understanding all of these. And that there comes bullying with all of these development in their brain. Schools these days are taking a lot of efforts and practices to make sure that there's a lot of fairness, there's a lot of equality, and the groups and the gangs are not made. However, children are children. They are going to form their groups and gangs, and they may bully. However, of what we have seen in past years, bullying has gone down a lot. However, any child who's suffering from bullying, first sign of being bullied is isolation. Because bullying impacts their brain so strongly, their self-esteem breaks. First thing they want to do is they shut themselves down. They shut themselves down because they don't understand what is happening, and the whole experience is very traumatizing for their brain. So they isolate themselves. They shut themselves down. And it is very important for parents to look out that when your bacha is coming from school, please don't just start asking how is the school, what did you do, what did you eat. No, just follow your bacha's lead. Whatever your child is doing, go behind them, sit with them, play with them. वो जो कर रहा है आप वही करने लगो. And that's where connection is formed. My son, he comes from school and he likes to play with his cars. So I'll also take one car and I'll just start riding after him. So with this thought, what happens is that जैसे connection form होता है ना, conversation start होता है.
True.
हम क्या करते हैं, हम conversation पहले strike करते हैं, connection बाद में देखा जाएगा. Which is wrong. It should follow in this order. First connection and conversation बच्चे खुद करेंगे. I remember out of nowhere when Agastya and I were playing, he will randomly come up with some story and say, "Mama, पता है आज स्कूल में ऐसा हो." So that's when he feels connected. तभी बच्चा open up होगा. जब तक connection नहीं आएगा, बच्चा open up होगा ही नहीं.
True.
Even if you pose 50 most amazing questions in front of them, उसको connection ही नहीं मिला, he will not care. So parents को genuinely एक वो quality time spend करना है बच्चों के साथ. And one of the best ways that I do this with my son is how to enhance emotional quotient in my child. I pose him hypothetical questions of the problems that I face. I tell him, Agastya, I went to a party and one friend, she was not talking to me, only she ignored me. What should I do? I'm very sad. वो friend का number दूँ, I will call her and I'll talk. Why did you do like this to my mama? Bacha, we can't call anyone and tell like this, na? Then, Mama, why don't you talk to other friends and play with them? That's a good idea. Actually, I can do that. I'll try that and I'll let you know if that works. So basically, what's happening here is that through these questions, I am preparing his mind for any situation that he may encounter in his school or in his battleground.
And how to handle
because he's already given me gyan on this. So uske mind mein to ye hai. So that's how. So every day, 1 or 2 random questions. Aaj subah is coming here, airport se, I'm just, FaceTiming him and asking, Agastya, there's so much crowd, log mujhe dhakka maar rahe, what do I do? Please help me now. Mama, then why don't you go last? Let them go first. That's a good idea. I should do that. So what I'm trying to do is कि मैं मेरे बच्चे को emotionally aware कर रही हूँ, emotionally वो regulate हो रहा है, empathize कर रहा है, उससे is lot of social skill is developing and lot of motivation is coming in him. That, oh, my mama is asking me. It means I've got something in me.
And they engage in those conversations. Since we're talking in very technical terms about brains and neural development and all sort of connections which form, I just want to know like which part of the brain actually brings out the creative thinking, critical thinking, and what can parents do to encourage their children to be more of an independent thinker and encourage them to be more creative?
Okay, so technically talking, creativity does not come from one particular part of the brain.
Yeah.
Creativity is in all the parts of the brain. I'll explain you how. So my prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for the logical reasoning, my memory, my problem solving, वहाँ से भी creativity आता है. जब मैं लैंग्वेज लर्न कर रही हूँ वहाँ से भी क्रिएटिविटी आता है. जब मैं इमोशनल रेगुलेशन पे वर्क कर रही हूँ वहाँ से भी क्रिएटिविटी आता है. इन अ वेरी यंग एज, सेफ इन आवर फर्स्ट 7 years, द मैजिकल years, if I want to brush up my child's creativity, the best ways to do it is in terms of cognitive development. I do a lot of storytelling with my child, book reading. I do a lot of blocks and puzzles, open-ended games, Lego, Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Creativity has a lot to do with your language, your thinking, right?
Yeah.
And hence I say that creativity is all over the brain and not just arts. A lot of times people associate creativity with arts, right? Which is untrue. Which is a very small meaning.
Yeah.
When we look at the larger picture, creativity comes in all the aspects.
Yeah.
And then we talk about if I want to bring the creativity in the fine motor, gross motor part of my brain. So that's when I do a lot of fine motor activities related to newspaper crumbling right from very young age.
Yeah.
So I basically do a lot of fine motor activities. Then I work on a lot of connection based activities. We are doing board games. We are singing rhymes, we are singing songs, we are dancing together, we are baking, we are cooking together.
Yeah.
So important to involve kids in kitchen because that's where they start understanding the value of food and nutrition as well.
True.
If you keep kids away from the kitchen and if you impose that this is healthy, eat this, they're never going to, get to the roots of it. And also, one last thing that I would say for creativity and most important, which most people don't do, is affirmations. Where when the child is before sleeping, as soon as the child is up in the morning, because that's when their brain is highly receptive mode. सुबह जब बच्चा उठता है तब उसका ब्रेन थीटा मोड में होता है, which is directly the brain waves coming from subconscious mind. And that's when जब मैं जो भी बोलती हूँ, practice करती हूँ, it actually becomes a part of their personality.
Okay.
And affirmations is not just saying I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm strong. It's feeling and speaking in present tense, in positive sentences without any negation like no or not.
So we spoke about a lot of things and very crucial things. And to summarize and sum up this entire conversation, I really want to ask you if there is any 3 tips which you would want to give to parents who are watching, how they can raise healthy children who become to be happier adults.
It all starts from the base, 0 to 7 years. In these years, please do not compare your children with other kids. Number 2, please do not lose your cool on your children. Understand that their brains are very underdeveloped. They need your emotional guidance and coaching. Be extremely patient with them. And number 3, prioritize your self-care, because if you are in a good shape physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you have a lot to offer to your children.
Absolutely. I think those are just wonderful tips which every parent should practice and really adapt in their day-to-day lives. So Shweta, moving on to the next segment we call Community Q&A, and we get a question from one of our listeners, and today's question is from Shreya, and what she's asking is, I have read that a child's relationship with food starts forming very early. As a parent, how can I use techniques like storytelling or visual cues to make healthy eating more exciting and educational for my 4-year-old? I also want to know this, by the way. Are there any specific activities or practices that align with child psychology to help reinforce positive eating habits?
Absolutely. So, healthy eating starts as early as 6 months when you start to wean your child off, the milk and start solids into your child's life. And It is vital that I involve my child in the kitchen. My child knows where my food is coming from, what is being cooked. We have family meals together.
Yeah.
We are discussing the food when we are eating. We are doing a lot of, what happened in my day, in my husband's day, in your day. So we are discussing about all of those things. I don't impose things on my child, whether, eat your spinach. I would rather tell my child, would you like your spinach in paratha or in smoothie? So that's how my child is also, welcoming spinach into his life. Also, please do not give up if your child is, first or second time rejecting something.
Yeah.
Encounters of 15 times for your child to actually accept it is the key takeaway.
Yeah.
A lot of parents are like, nahi ho raha hai ma'am, to hum chhod diya humne. Another thing is that whatever you allow in your house is going to prevail. So please make sure that you allow healthy eating practices on family dinners, on family tables with your child. अगर आप फूड के साथ में टीवी रखोगे, बच्चा टीवी देख रहा है, आप बच्चे को खिला रहे हो, बच्चा हैज नो एसोसिएशन और नो रिलेशनशिप विद द फूड, इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प हिम. बच्चे को अपने फिंगर्स से खाना तोड़ने दो, पुट इट इन हिज माउथ, लेट हिम लाइक सलाइवा उसको एक्सपीरियंस करने दो, बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स आर वाइटल कि उसका ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट बहुत स्ट्रांग होता है जब बच्चा खुद खाता है. वो एसोसिएशन मेमोरी उसके ब्रेन में बिल्ड होता है, एंड ऑल ऑफ दिस थ्रू ब्रेन साइंस it is vital that kids eat by themselves. And dinner time ka environment I keep very light and happy and chirpy in my family. Also young kids have very short attention span, so elaborated dinner agar मैं रखूंगी तो बच्चा will lose it. So 20-25 minutes is the max that my बच्चा can give attention. So keeping short dinners like not very elaborated also really helps.
Okay, some very useful tips there. Moving on to the fun segment. So this is a round where we wrap up with a quick rapid fire. And today's rapid fire is called Parenting Quick Fire. We'll ask you 10 quick questions about kids, food, and parenting, and you have to answer each one of them with the first thought that comes to your mind.
Great, excellent.
Ready?
Absolutely ready.
Okay, so one habit parents should model for their kids every day.
Calmness.
Oh, wow.
Hands down, calmness.
Dream world. Your go-to activity for calming a tantrum.
Empathize. Acknowledge and empathize.
Absolutely. A food item that supports both the brain and the gut.
For my son, blueberry and yogurt.
Okay. Your favorite way to encourage kids to eat veggies.
Involve them in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Involve them in the process.
Tell them to cook.
Talk to them about it.
My daughter, she's very fond of baking now, so I should start telling her, I would like a cake with some veggies in it.
Broccoli.
The best way to teach children about empathy.
Experience it.
What's one word every parent should avoid saying to their kids?
Because I said so.
Name one unconventional way to bond with your child.
Baking, cooking.
Yeah. What's a childhood habit that can predict future resilience?
I think empathy.
Yeah.
When I teach my child empathy, he is ready for future, where he's kind, he's strong, and he empathizes with people around him. That's a very strong quality.
And maybe process the emotions better.
Absolutely.
If you could give one piece of advice to new parents in just 3 words, what would it be? Oh, that's a tough one.
Understand your child's brain before losing it on them.
What's the best life lesson kids can learn from play?
Wow, what a question.
Being fair? I don't know.
From play, So many things, yeah, so many. I think all of life skills actually
Yeah.
from play. Yeah, accept your failures and teamwork and
Sharing.
team spirit, sharing.
Enjoy your little
Yep.
wins.
Yes, enjoy little wins, enjoy other people winning.
Yeah. Well, I think that was really fun.
Yeah,
I truly enjoyed
yay.
it. Thank you so much for such candid answers. And overall, the episode, I think it went so well. I have learned so much myself.
Great.
And I think now I'm going to be a much sorted, much calmer. So
Great.
much, Shweta.
Thank you, Priyanka, for having me. Honestly, what a pleasant experience.
So, since there was a rapid fire, there has to be a hamper, and you won this wonderful hamper from Mate today.
Awesome.
I hope
Thank
your
you very
kids love
much.
it.
Yes. Thank you.
And
Love it.
it really means a lot.
Likewise.
You joining us here today.
Likewise.
It's been such a fruitful discussion. And the conversation overall in itself has been very enriching for me. And I'm sure a lot of parents who are watching this will find it very useful.
Thank you.
So
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shweta.